Because, brothers and sisters, istighfar is a big deal. Istighfar is a very big deal. See, this concept of tawbah and this concept of istighfar, it has two different aspects. It has an outward aspect to it. The way you do istighfar, the way you do tawbah, the things that you might say or the things that you might do in order to do istighfar and tawbah. Then it has an inner aspect. This inner aspect is what actually happens in terms of your spirituality when you do tawbah and istighfar. This outer aspect of it, the steps that you take in our communities and in our cultures, we have made it more complicated than it really is. The inner aspect of tawbah, what happens when you actually turn towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have acted as if it's simpler than what it really is. When I want to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness, what are the 20 steps that I have to take? There are no 20 steps. There's 2-3 steps that you have to take. Number one, you have to regret what you have done. How long does it take for you to do that? Maybe a second or two. Number two, you have to decide not to go back to what you had done. How long does it take to do that? Maybe a second or two. Number three, you have to start making up for those things that you can make up for. A salat, a fast, wealth of people, and you're done. This is tawbah. Many of us assume if you want to do tawbah, it has to be the month of Ramadan. No. Many of us assume if you want to do tawbah, you want to change your path, you have to wait until the night of Qadr. No. Who told you you can live until the night of Qadr? You don't have time. You have to do tawbah now, immediately and quickly, swiftly. The outward aspect of tawbah is a lot simpler than we make it to be. But then when you come to the inner, the esoteric aspect of tawbah and repentance, this is much more significant than when we make it look like. We make it look like you did istighfar, you just said a couple words. You didn't just say a couple words. What you did is you fundamentally turned your face towards Allah again. What you had done before is you had turned away from Allah. You had done i'rad of Allah. Now you're turning back towards Him. This is a very big deal. What you had done with the sins before, as hadith says, the sin is like a knife that wounds your spirituality. It cuts your spirituality in half. Now when you are doing tawbah, you are mending wounds. You are healing spiritually. You're changing from one person to another person. It's a very big deal. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has simplified the process. But He wants us to understand that this simple process, what are the big changes that it brings about? This is why the hadith of the Ahlul Bayt beautifully says, Imam as-Sadiq, he says, At-ta'ibu min al-dhanb, the one who does tawbah from a sin, kaman la dhanba lah, is like the one who has no sin. What does this mean? It means you're being born again.